Yeah,
Scones
no,
are
I agree.
awesome. Would you like to see my scone?
Yes, show me your scones.
Would you like to see my scone?
Yes, all right.
Show me your scone. There's a scone chopped in half, and then you've got clotted cream and jam on top.
By clotted cream, you mean cream cheese?
No, clotted cream.
Cream cheese?
No, clotted cream.
Why are you guys not showing up?
Huh?
There we are. I was trying to find the... Usually you show up when I'm... But anyway, so we go to this place called Scone Cutter. It's midnight. They have this deal, 10 scones for $10. And I am not one to pass up a deal. Ever. Ever. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, the way that my wife or girlfriend at the time had described him to me, a scone was, you know, just fried biscuit dough or fried dough. And I was like, oh, cool, I could do that. My mom does fried dough. Sweet. And so we go, and the scones, no kidding, are like this big.
Hold on, I got you off screen for a second. How big?
They're like this big.
Huge. Okay.
They were huge, and they were 10 for $10. I was like, all right, sweet. And I bought 10 of them, and it's midnight, and it was we ate quite a bit. So it was pretty awesome. Oh, I was gonna we're streaming. I was gonna tell Neil about my attempt.
Well, you gotta wait another 48 seconds. Then he goes quiet.
No, I know, but like I was gonna tell Neil about my attempt on that game that shall not be named, and my opponent. But I don't want to get sent to the naughty corner.
Oh, I have to check out my my PvP torture
droid. PvP torture droid.
No, the I'm trying to think of another word for that other part.
Contest?
Yes, PvP torture contest.
Hello, ladies and gents. It's Geeking Out time again. So, as usual, I've got my hetero life partner to my left, or your right, depending on how you're looking at us, and then my soon-to-be bottom bitch on my right, or left, depending on how you look at it. So
only for you, Neil.
Yeah,
only for you.
Clowns to the left and jokers to the right, and here you are, stuck in the middle with us.
Stuck in the middle. That's right.
I'm stuck in the middle. I always be in the middle.
I don't want to sing. I don't want to get
as
us
long
like
as I
copyright
control
strike.
the show. I will be in the middle.
Oh,
We can do it as comedy, but we can't sing it on command or anything like that.
okay.
Just, you know, that one scone
It's
with
parody.
clotted cream and jam was not enough. Now I've had one, I want another.
Clotted cream honestly sounds disgusting.
No, clotted cream. It is like
It's whipped cream.
Take regular cream, but make it extremely thick and very, very dense.
Whipped cream.
It's not
Okay,
whipped cream. Clotted
it's heavy.
cream is not whipped cream.
Is it heavy whipped cream?
No, it's not heavy whipped cream. It's not whipped cream at all. Clotted
If
cream.
If I smear it on myself, will it like
Clotted cream? You know, you
sticky.
get those. You know, you get those tubs of cream cheese, right?
Yes.
And when
yes.
and it's extremely thick and it's extremely dense, right?
Okay,
Imagine
clotted
regular cream with that density.
Clotted cream, according to Wikipedia, clotted cream is a thick cream made by indirectly heating full cream cow's milk using a steam or water bath and then leaving it in shallow pans to cool slowly. During this time, the cream content rises to the surface and forms clots or clouts, and it forms an essential part of a cream tea. Place of origin? Guess where, Thaddeus?
Australia.
No, how England. Cornwall, to be precise. The West Country. The West Country, to be precise.
All right. We're going to be talking a little bit about England today. I'm just going to say that. So this is awesome. I have to say, did you know that in Portuguese, that whole water bath is called a banho de Maria, which is apparently a Mary's bath, right? Which is like connected to Jesus somehow. And so it was the weirdest thing. Also, the same way that you make flan, and I once scolded myself with almost third-degree burns while making
scalded. Flan. If you scolded yourself, you'd be like, "You're bad." Yeah,
well, I mean, I always scold myself. You should see my back with my flail, just grr, grr, grr. But no, you were right. I did scald myself. These two fingers, I dropped a flan pot into this like 55-gallon drum of boiling water, and to make my flan, the water went everywhere, splashed on me, splashed on my hands, hurt like balls. It was not fun. Not fun at all.
Okay, so it wasn't fun then.
No.
What we took from that was it wasn't fun.
It was not fun.
So no. Thaddeus. Okay, so here's the great way that we're going to do this. Thaddeus has scalded himself half to death.
Yes.
My claim to near death is I've electrocuted myself 3 times.
I mean, doing what? I mean, there's
Okay, so I'm 12 years old, and there's this plug in the wall that I was trying to connect to charge my RC car on the other side, and I didn't want to move the RC car, and my plug was just that far. I noticed on the other wall that there was a small plug, a small extension, so I go over there, and I try to pry it off the wall, and it doesn't work. Well, I could just pick up the RC car and move it over, right? Remember, I'm 12.
No, well, you wouldn't want to do that.
So I go to the kitchen instead, and I get a butter knife, and I start trying to pry the plug off the wall and create a shower of sparks, blow out the lamp, that was connected to it, all that fun stuff.
I will say that the butter knife is the most utilitarian of all the knives.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about earlier in my life when I was, I would probably say maybe about 8 or 9. My father and mother had an 8-track player, a portable 8-track player nonetheless, that you would charge using an AC adapter. I took the 8-track player and I popped in Puff the Magic Dragon. I love Puff the Magic Dragon. Yeah. Every 8 to 9-year-old loves Puff the Magic Dragon.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting there, Puff the Magic Dragon. So then my mom tells me to go and take a bath. So I take the 8-track player in with me into the bath, and I put it on the toilet, and I sit in the bath, and I'm listening to Puff the Magic Dragon, Puff the Magic. So I couldn't hear it good enough, and I turned it up all the way, so I put it on the bath, on the side of the bath. And it's plugged into the wall. I knocked the darn 8-track player into the bathtub with me, and then I go, Mom, Puff's drowning. I've locked the door at this time. My mom comes busting in, and she sees the connect. She snatches me up out of the water. She says that I was shaking. That was great.
Explains so much.
Now, 16 years old. My grandparents on my father's side in rural Ohio have their house that they raised all their 9 children, the good Catholic family that it was, that they raised the kids in. Well, it's a dark afternoon in the middle of winter, and it had just snowed, and the snow's melting. It's getting into the garage. I go in, and the door shuts behind me in the garage. Well, I know where the light switch is, so I start walking over towards where the light switch is in basically the pitch black dark. And apparently I was standing in melted snow when instead of here's the light switch, here's a plug. My hand hits the plug instead of the light switch, and I get a nice jolt. That's the one I remember.
Yeah. The other ones have been erased from your memory.
The other ones have been erased from my memory of remembering the exact instance, except that it happened. Neil, what about your near death?
Well, I mean, I was in Kosovo in 99 and Iraq in 2003, so I'm sure I was probably a few minutes away from death at some point during those 2 tours of duty, but nothing that I can recall off the top of my head, because I've always been sensible and not stupid, like, you know, taking cassette recorders into the bath with me, or playing with electricity, or doing all those silly things that you Americans seem to do.
What do you
I did once get hit on the head with a very, very big rock when I was conker picking with friends as a child. The moral of the story being, when someone says, look out, when you're throwing rocks into a horse chestnut tree to get conks out, and someone says, look out, don't look up, because you get hit by the rock coming down onto you. And I just remember walking, because I was on an army camp, because I was a power brat, you know, bleeding profusely from the forehead, to walking to the med center as a 7-year-old. But, you know, like, that wasn't near death. And it wasn't even my fault. Someone threw a rock and it hit me on the head instead of, you know, getting conkers out of the trees, because we threw rocks into the tree to get the conkers out. So, but apart from, Kosovo 99. Yeah, it had lots and lots of gunfire from Tent City.
Neil, what's a conker?
A conker.
It's a Congo line woman.
No, a conker
has worked her way up into the tree.
Conker. Conker. A conker. Horse chestnut.
Okay.
You put a string through, and you hold the string, and then you have a conker fight.
Oh, gotcha.
Have you never had a conker fight? Is this some cultural thing?
This is
a totally cultural thing.
In the UK,
I've had rock
trees.
Fights.
In the UK, we have these. In Europe, we have these trees. They're called horse chestnut trees, and it's a green. It looks like it's a coconut, you know. So you've got the green shell on the outside. It's got spikes on, and you peel it off.
We
and
have
there's
those
this
in
great
Ohio.
big
We have those.
Brown, and
Yeah.
there's the brown nut.
Yeah,
Now,
and they
hurt.
hurt.
Buckeyes.
We call them conkers. You drill a hole through it. You put it on a bootlace, and at school, you know, you would hit each other's conkers, and the person that would win would be the person whose conker would survive. In order to get the best conkers out of the tree, you would have to lob stuff into the tree in order to knock the good ones out, because you would literally have to go through hundreds and hundreds of conkers in order to find that perfect conker that was just huge, that you could then, you know, soak in vinegar, throw in the oven, drill a hole through, perfect hole, just big enough to get your bootlace through, tie that knot off, and then, you know, you would just rule the school.
So much work.
We call those Buckeyes, the nut inside. We call those Buckeyes in the state of Ohio.
I was going to say, is that what a Buckeye is?
That is what a Buckeye is.
Now, we call them conkers in the conkers.
I call them painful. As someone who never wore shoes growing up in the South, stepping on those things is the most painful thing in the world.
Well, don't step on them.
You had different types.
Walk around them.
They were this big.
No. We're talking. No. They're this big. They're not. Yeah. They're not that.
I'm
big.
thinking
they're only this big. They're only
they grow that big in Ohio. Okay.
They're about the size of it. I mean, if they're about the size of between the. Sometimes you could get big ones, but they tended to be between the size of a golf ball and a small tennis ball.
I was going to say a tennis ball. They're about the size of a tennis ball. Yeah, that's about.
I never got one the size of a tennis ball, but I did get a couple of really, really close ones.
So Neil, I would say the moral of your story is not, what you said. It is don't get stoned by your friends.
Yeah.
Or with your friends.
I can't even remember which friend it was that lobbed the stone up into the tree. That
they threw a rock at you, man.
They didn't throw it at me. We would stand underneath the tree and we would throw it straight up. We wouldn't throw it at an angle because, you don't know where it's going to go. We would throw it straight up so we would see it come straight down. We were 7. We weren't stupid. You don't throw stones into a tree at an angle. You don't know where the stone's going to go, and you need that stone to repeat throwing.
Okay, to each their own.
And we haven't even gotten.
We didn't have, we didn't have any of the big kids. Sometimes we would have the big kids. The big kids would climb into the tree and shake it. They would climb to one of the branches, and then they would jump up and down on the tree to shake all of the conkers out. But if you did, the agreement was, if you did that, then the big kids got dibs on the big conkers. So there was no point doing it because they would get dibs on all the big conkers.
Which, yeah.
All right. So
the older you are, the bigger your conkers.
Yeah.
All right. We are 15 minutes into the show, and we haven't even gotten to the items that we're geeking out about. I'm gonna go do a wardrobe change while we're in the middle of some commercials. But coming up after this, we've got television in the UK, we've got video games, and we've got something that was on your streaming services just this past weekend, coming up right here on Geeking Out with Going Nerdy on the Escape Podcastaways Content Creator Network.
Yay! Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Podcastaways wants you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Podcastaways. All for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Are you a member of Team Paul or Team Neil? Maybe you prefer story time with the llama, or dabble in the buttery side of the force with Biscuit Weasel. Or maybe you like the Escape Pod talents from Down Under like Heinzie and Scotty. No matter who you support, you can get one of my designs from the Escape Podcast merch store. Just go to escapepodcastaways.com, click on the merch link, and it will take you to the TeePublic site where you can support me, Mrs. Anthony, also known as Critty K. Also be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast's Discord server weekly to vote for my latest shirts in the Design Derby on Woot. Links for both of these are down below. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
All right. Then I won't do it, Nev.
Hello there, ladies and gents, and welcome back. I nearly caught Thaddeus out then. He nearly started talking about the game that should not be mentioned. But
what game is that?
He decided it best not to do that. So, he very, very quickly. So, So we're ready to do some slideshows, and we're ready to geek out with the stuff that we want to geek out. So,
Indeed.
Okay, everybody, rock, paper, scissors.
So it's rock, paper, and scissors.
Yes, on scissors.
On scissors. All right.
On scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. All right. Go first.
Paper, I win. Okay, so that goes off, and this goes on. Boom! This is what I'm talking about today. And I have notes. I have notes that I've written down, not on paper. They're on my computer next to me. So Red Dwarf is a British sci-fi comedy franchise created by Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. It has been going since 1988, so it is a TV series that is older than most of the people that probably listen to this show. But the premise of the series follows a low-ranking technician, a guy called Dave Lister, who awakens after being in suspended animation for 3 million years to find he is the last living human being. There is no crew on board his ship, which is the Jupiter Mining Corporation ship Red Dwarf. other than Arnold Rimmer, who's a hologram of his old bunkmate, and Cat, a life form which evolved from his pregnant pet cat. So basically, he was put into stasis as punishment for smuggling a cat on board his ship. So he got punished and put in stasis, and while he was in stasis, his roommate Rimmer destroyed and killed everybody by failing to repair a drive plate. So he gets woken up 3 million years by the ship's computer, and that's basically where it goes. And the show pretty much follows these three during the initial couple of the first couple of seasons. Yes, Paul, you have a question.
So in Red Dwarf, I'm looking at these pictures that you're putting up.
Yeah,
they are getting slightly more advanced. Star Trek was only set like 100 to 200 years beyond, and
Red Dwarf was set 22nd, 23rd century. There's a bit of ambiguity in there from a fan's perspective. It's the 23rd century because Dave Lister, who's the last human being alive, his character, he usually refers to himself as an enlightened 23rd century guy. So it's based on the future tech itself, because obviously it's spaceships and stuff like that, psi scanners and teleporting and ships and spaceships and flying around and stuff like that. It's loosely based on the 23rd century, but obviously it's
the
not
3
million years after the 23rd century. But it's a comedy, so there is no kind of a canonical way that it stays. I mean, series 1 to 6 does kind of remain canon. So you've got the three main characters: Cat, Lister, and Rimmer. Rimmer has got a H on his foot. When you see the images, you'll see a character with a H. The H indicates that he's a hologram. In season 1, he was originally alive. He's the one that failed to repair the ship. There was a radiation leak, and he killed all 1,000 members of the crew. And the computer, the computer's called Holly. The ship's computer is called Holly, brought back Rimmer to keep Lister sane, despite the fact that they were bunkmates and they absolutely hated each other's guts.
Now you showed us a clip here. Was that Holly? Was that the person inside with the red gingham dress on?
No. That was Rimmer. In that episode, he picks up a holovirus that makes him go mad. That was the clip that I showed you. So here's the thing: it's been going on since 1988. There have been 13 seasons. So you had 1 to 6, and then unfortunately there was a bit of a bust up between the creators of the franchise, Rob Grant and Doug Naylor. You're not going to believe, they fell out over the character of the cat. The character of the cat, he's stupid. So the primary focus of the cat,
is that the person with the funky?
Yeah, that's the cat, the one that dresses kind of cool. That's he's got the pointy teeth and he's got the hairdo, and he's always dressed in fashion. So he's very one-dimensional. He's extremely self-conscious. He's selfish. He's narcissistic. He's horrid. But he's funny, and the creators of the show fell out over how his character was supposed to be written. One of them wanted him to evolve and get more intelligent as the show moved on. But the crux of it was his nose. So cats have a very acute sense of smell. So this humanoid evolution of the cat would sense things and would sense danger through his nose. Something's coming. I can smell it. And that was one of the running jokes that was in Red Dwarf. Rob Grant and Doug Naylor argued over this joke to the point where they split up. There was a hiatus, then season 7 came back, and one of the characters that Dave Lister is chasing after season is the girl that got away from him, Christine Kachansky. And you can see in some of these images a actress playing Kachansky. Now,
Is
they
that the
brought her-
blonde or is that the brunette?
That's the brunette. Now, the blonde is the female version of Holly. During the first 3 seasons of Holly, the first 3 seasons of Red Dwarf, the onboard computer Holly was a guy. And then in season 3, they did an episode which was like an opposites. So they created a double of Red Dwarf, but it was like the worm that turned. So there was a female version of Lister, a female version of Rimmer, and a female version, an alternate of the cat, and a female version of Holly. And in season 4, Holly, the male Holly didn't come back, and they just kept the female version of Holly as kind of like homage to it. But it's a very, very interesting and funny episode. But 1 to 6 kind of followed followed a routine. They actually won an international award. Season 6, one of the episodes was called Gunman of the Apocalypse, and it actually won an international Emmy. Because it was a really, really good episode. I'll have to put that on for you. But yeah, it came back in the noughties, and basically the BBC didn't want to make any more shows. So Dave, the TV station Dave in the UK, bought the rights to it, and they're the ones that have been making the new seasons ever since. And I recently watched 10, 11, and 12. Haven't watched 13 yet, which is just called The Promised Land. It was supposed to be 6 episodes, but it was made not by Dave, but by UK TV, and they said that they were just going to squeeze it all together to be one feature-length episode. So not watched that one yet.
Okay, and Thaddeus, I'll give you a second to ask questions. I just want to know, and this might be actually the question that you're about to ask. You said, I think it was last week, or you said it maybe in an after show or something, the seasons for a television show in the US are about 22 episodes. Is this one of those 9 or 10
No.
or 8
In
episodes?
the UK, a series is 6 episodes long. So season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all 6 episodes long. All right. Season 7 was, I think, 8 episodes. 8 was also 8 episodes, so they did a little bit extra. I never really liked season 7 and season 8. I wasn't. They weren't as good. Season 7 and 8 weren't as good. 9 was kind of different. It was interesting because it veered off the usual way that they would make Red Dwarf, because the series would be recorded in front of a live studio audience. That was how the show was done. A bit like Friends was recorded in front of a live studio audience, except for the outdoors bits. They would use a laughing tape. With Red Dwarf, everything was done on the ship, whether it was in the cockpit, whether it was in the ready room. They would do all of the recording in front of a live studio audience so that you didn't have to use a laughing track. They didn't do that with 9 so that they could do more special effects, and that was a 3-episode series, and then they went back to it 10, 11, and 12. 11 and 12 are actually really, really good. I must admit, I don't know if Zaz or Cascade have watched them, but 11 and 12 are really, really, really good. Back to its finest. But yeah, there have been lots and lots of the 3 primary characters, like I said, Cat, Rimmer, and Lister. But Crichton has been there since series 3, and he's been in every single episode since then. They did a one-off episode with Crichton in it, and they used a different actor. Realized that the character would add to the ensemble feel of it, and they brought him in. They did bring Christine Kachanski in because the actor Chris Barry, who played Rimmer, had other commitments, so he was kind of like written out of the series by taking on the mantle of Ace Rimmer. Now Chris Barry plays 2 characters in Red Dwarf. There are 2 versions of Arnold J. Rimmer, Arnold Judas Rimmer. One is this sniveling coward that is just a really, really horrible person that would sell his mother's soul in order to escape a dangerous situation. And then you've got Ace Rimmer, which is an Arnold J. Rimmer from a different dimension that is cool and suave and brave and just what a guy. It's just a really and to write him out, what they did was they made Rimmer take on the mantle of Ace Rimmer, because there has to be an Ace Rimmer in the galaxy in the universe, saving people all the time. But then they wrote him back in, and We've had multiple series. I would highly recommend Red Dwarf to anybody that has not watched it. But yes, Zaz, you have got to catch up on the latest 3 episodes. They filmed 11 and 12 back to back. They got released in 2017, 2018. And Red Dwarf, The Promised Land, which is a TV special. That's the one that popped up on the screen just now. That one is they've made 3 one-hour documentaries about the show and how it was made. But the Promised Land basically is going all the way back to the beginning, because right from the get-go, season 1 of Red Dwarf, the cat was explaining to Dave why he was the only one of his kind left on the ship. So millions of cats evolved in the ship. You know, over 3 million years, they evolved into a race, and then they left the ship. You know, one went off in one direction and one went off in another direction, looking for the promised land of Fujal, which is basically Fiji, because Dave Lister wanted to open up a hot dog stand in Fiji. And over 3 million years, that hot dog stand in Fiji became the promised land to a race of cats. And it was a hot dog stand that became like the promised land. And so that's what this latest series, I have not watched yet, is all about. But it's very funny.
If one wanted to watch them here in the U.S., how?
You would need to... there's an app that allows you to watch UK TV, but you would also so you can sign up to this app so that you can watch it. It's just like a streaming service app, but it's for UK TV only. So you would also need to download a VPN to make your PC look like it's in the United Kingdom. So you can do it all perfectly legally. I mean, Zaz is in the UK, so he'll be able to watch it regularly. No. It's you can do it completely and utterly legal. It's like it's no different from being able to watch stuff that's on Netflix. For example, Netflix in the US, you can't watch Sharp, but Sharp is on Netflix, the UK version of Netflix. So if you wanted to watch episodes of Sharp,
streaming services have terms of service that say you can only access it from the country in which you reside, but that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to. If
you're paying for a service, you should be able to take full advantage of that service.
I'm not disagreeing. No, yeah, I'm just pointing out a terms of service thing that apparently some people in our community don't like to read. Anyway,
UK Play. It might be UK Play, Zaz. I'm not sure, mate. Not sure. Cascade 7 and 8 were not good. 7 and 8 were not good. 9 was okay. 10, 11, and 12 are really, really good. Okay, 10, 11, and 12 are very, very good. One of the things that they added with 10, 11, and 12 that has never been in before was they made the vending machines. This was a comedy element. They gave the vending machines personalities. So there's a coffee machine with a Spanish accent, and
does it have Spanish eyes? I'll ask for Thaddeus.
There's a vending machine that has the hots for Dave. Literally has the hots for Dave, and it's like, is there anything? One of the scenes is there anything I can do for you? And she's like, I'd love to see what's around the corner. And he's like, what? Really? It's like, yeah, all I do every day is stare at that wall. I'd love to know what's just around the corner. So he drags her into the corridor. This vending machine with artificial intelligence drags them into the corridor, and they fall over, and he falls on top, and he's jumping up and down on it. And the cat, Mr. Crichton and Rimmer then see what looks like Dave Lister humping this vending machine as it's on the floor, and it's funny. It's just funnier because they give the vending machines comedic voices, and they give them funny lines, and it just gives them something else.
All right, so 12 seasons are on BritBox, according to
BritBox.
And I just looked it up and confirmed. Thank you very much, Cascade, for pointing that out in the chat.
Yes, Boys from the Dwarf.
They don't have 13 though.
Here's the thing. I have a question. So you said that it changed from one TV station to another. Is it 7 and 8 that lost you seasons? And is that where the change took place?
7. No. It was still the BBC doing it in 7 and 8. But 7 and 8 were here's the thing, because Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, because they fell out, it was only it was Doug Naylor that wrote them. The show was created by the two of them, but because they had a creative falling out over the cat's nose, that was it. It was only one of them that wrote all of the seasons after 6. So the books that they co-wrote together, brilliant. But after season 6, after series 6, it was all written by just one of the writing duo. So it took a while. I mean, like I said, season 7 and 8 were not as funny because it didn't have the comedy genius of both of them. I think it would have been funnier if they both wrote 7 and 8. But it took Naylor a long time to get permission from Grant to be able to write new seasons on his own. And it took a lot of lobbying from the actors themselves. The actors were like, come on, just we want to do it again, we want to reprise the roles, let us do it. And it was just unfortunate. But if you have any questions to ask regarding it, now would be the time to ask them. Oh, and I know the theme chart, the theme song to the episode, I know off by heart because I've watched it that many times, and it's the same episode.
How many
and
episodes?
I've sung it before.
What is your favorite episode, and how many times have you watched it?
Oh, but I mean, the Horseman of the Apocalypse is Back to Reality. The Horseman of the Apocalypse won the award, but my favorite is Back to Reality, where the episode, the premise of the episode is basically they crash and they're destroyed, and then they wake up. So they're looking at a derelict ship at the bottom of an ocean, and this squid kills them. And then they wake up, but they're not who they are. So Dave Lister isn't a slob or a bum. He's a well-dressed, wealthy person. Crichton isn't an android, isn't a robot. He's an android. The cat isn't a cool-looking, well-dressed person. He's now a bum. And the cat. He's Dwayne Dibley. So he's not cool. He's a complete a nerd and a dweeb with piano teeth. And Rimmer, who is prim and proper and a hologram that is very uniform. He's the bum and completely and utterly disorganized. And basically, they think that they were playing a video game. So Red Dwarf is a video game, not their real life. And then towards the end of the episode, Holly, who's the ship's computer, finally gets through to them. Guys, you're playing a game, because they were about to kill themselves. And what had happened was they'd been attacked by the squid that attacked them was a despair squid that would make people kill themselves, and it took Holly to bring them back. But back to reality. And Demons and Angels, Zaz. Yes, that is all. Demons and Angels. Crichton has a machine, and he creates 2 copies of Red Dwarf. One that is all pure and wholesome and everything that's good about Red Dwarf, and then a Red Dwarf that is just all evil and nothing works and everything's broken. And that's a good one as well. So there are some really, really good episodes in there. The best episodes that were ever made are in Series 5 and Series 6. Series 5 and Series 6 are the two. If you're only ever going to watch 2 series of Red Dwarf, 5 and 6 are the ones to watch because they're just brilliant.
All right.
Which one had the toaster?
Talkie Toaster. Would you like some toast?
Which one had the toaster?
Therefore I am. Talkie Toaster, that is Series 5. I think that's
Okay, so
it is.
I left the hardest at of the 3 that you
Yeah.
showed us.
And the one with Mr. Flibble. That one
Okay.
is also in either, I'm not sure if that's 6 or 5, but it's in one of them. It's in 6 or 5. But yeah, really, really good TV show. Got to be watched.
All right.
Okay, that's me, all done and dusted. Who's next? Rock, paper, scissors.
All right, on scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. I go
cut to paper. Paul goes.
Paul goes.
All right.
Why is there a wombat in this slide stream?
I will get to that.
I am also curious about this. That's not a wombat, is it?
It's
Like
not a
wombat to me.
wombat.
That's a weasel.
I am talking about Halo 3. This
Ooh.
game was just announced that it is going to be released on the PC, something that people have been wanting since almost forever. Halo 3 gets a release on PC 1 week from yesterday.
Oh.
So on the 14th of July, you will be able to download, if you have the Master Chief Collection, which is free.
That's true.
With
Google Plus or the
Xbox
Plus.
Live.
Yeah.
If you're an Xbox Live member, Ultimate member, then you can download many different games for free.
If I remember correctly, the Minecraft Dungeons, isn't that part of that as well?
Minecraft Dungeons is also part of that. So Thaddeus, you get to download this.
I will have to.
Now, for those who don't know what Halo 3 is, welcome to Earth. I'm going to read the Wikipedia article, kind of like what Nev did. Halo 3 is a first-person shooter game developed by Bungie originally for the 360. For the Xbox 360, it's the third installment of the Halo franchise, and it concluded the story arc that began in the first Halo, which was the first game ever released for the Xbox, and continued in 2004's Halo 2. It centers on an interstellar war between 26th century humanity. We're talking about what you and I are talking about future stuff, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the past.
You are talking about the past today. A collection of alien races known as the Covenant and the alien parasites called the Flood. You played Master Chief as he's essentially heading to Earth to finish the fight.
So futuristic that they wear bright red and bright blue spacesuits instead of, camouflage.
And you have to know what team you're on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you need to be able to see which ones you are and you're shooting at.
When me and my girls played it, I always picked gold.
I was always blue.
I was always blue, and my icon, it still is to this day, is a target because I love to be the target.
I love to throw grenades as I die.
Oh yes.
That's my favorite thing. It's not as doable in other first-person shooters as it is in Halo. In Halo, you die, you can just chunk out grenades left and right and potentially get revenge.
Especially the sticky ones, and somebody's coming at you with the sword.
Oh yeah.
You cut them down, and they get a screen full of blue as a plasma grenade goes off in their face. And then they have an overshield and survive anyway, and then you're mad.
Yep.
But I mean, Halo 3 introduced, and this is where I'm just going off script and talking from the heart here. Halo 3 introduced what essentially was the beginning of custom content creation for consoles. It included the Forge mode, where you could build your own level based on the levels that they supplied you. You could board up certain walls. You could put vehicles on a very large thing like the map called Sandbox. There's also an inverted version of Blood Gulch called Valhalla. There were a lot of fun levels. Halo 3 to me was the pinnacle of console multiplayer gaming until the Call of Duty franchise actually picked up steam. Now, when it comes to Halo 3 has a special place as well, because I created surprise, guys. I've always tried to make communities better, right?
Mm-hmm.
What?
So I built with the help of a friend. I built a website. I don't even think that it's still available. Let me just see. I doubt it's even still available. No, it's now replaced with a Reddit, though, which is kind of funny. I created Halo3Customs.com, where we would put the settings and any specialty rules to custom multiplayer games up on the screen. So we saw the site flooded with a lot of zombies games where you could only have, you started one team with the sword and the other team got a shotgun, kind of like what you're seeing on the screen right now. And if you get killed by the other group, you have to switch teams. It's actually, I think, started in Counter-Strike, but really picked up steam in Halo 3. A lot of Xbox Live time was spent with my friends playing zombies. Or, now you ask why this mongoose is up on the screen, right?
Yes.
It's a mongoose, not a bat, not a wombat.
Part of the weasel family, though.
It's part of the weasel family. But that mongoose is up there because the game that everybody played a whole bunch was called Mongoose Jousting.
The mongoose.
The mongoose was is the kind of the four-wheeler.
Yeah.
The four-wheeler, not the big old warthogs as they call them in the game, not the big SUVs. We're talking about the ATVs. They can fit two people on an ATV, on the ATVs. The rules of and I sent them to Flair because he and I were talking about it. So let me pull up the exact rules. And where's my conversation with Flair? Here it is. The rules of mongoose jousting. Rule number 1, get on a mongoose.
Makes sense.
It's two-person teams. Two-person teams. One driver and one jouster. Only the jouster, the person sitting on the back, holding on with one hand and holding a weapon in their other hand. And it's a choice of two weapons. The Spartan laser, which takes time to fire up, right? You have to hold down the trigger to fire the laser. You've played this, Neil, yes?
I've played Halo 3, yeah. Me and the girls used to play it all the time.
Okay. So the Spartan laser, which takes time to load up, or you have the rocket launcher. Those are the two things. You have unlimited ammo. Your goal is to score points by killing the other player while they're on a mongoose. So it's an honor rule that you do not shoot somebody on foot. You do not purposely get off of the mongoose so people can't shoot you. You don't do that. And then the other honor rule is you do not shoot if you're not on a mongoose.
That makes sense.
So the fun part is when a rocket blast kills the driver of the vehicle, but not the passenger. So you've got a sitting duck out there shooting rockets in all sorts of different directions. Because remember, you can't shoot when you're not on a mongoose.
Yeah, of course. I gotta. So that sounds awesome. I loved Halo. Like Halo for me was the first game that it was my first person shooter game outside of 007 GoldenEye, right? It was
No Duke
I played
Nukem, no Doom.
no Duke Nukem, no Doom. I played Counter-Strike a little bit, but like back on PC, like late 90s, I think. But not a lot. And I wasn't very good. But it was my first person shoot 'em, and I remember I had left the States for a couple of years, and I came back, and I was waiting to go back to college, and I was hanging out with these guys, and it was just a house. It was like a frat house almost, with like 10 guys living at this house. Like there were like 3 to a bedroom. There was one guy living in like the living room, sleeping on a mattress. I mean, it was just this house. And every night they had 4 couches and 5 televisions just lined up, and we would play. We started with Halo 1, and then Halo 2 came out almost like a week or 2 after I joined the group. And once I finally moved and started going to college, Halo 3 came out. That's when I got my Xbox. That's when I started playing. I have never once in my entire life played the story mode of Halo.
No, me neither. Never played the story mode.
Never played
I
it.
only ever played it in multiplayer with my girls.
Exactly. I have all the achievements on my gamer tag associated with my name on my Xbox simply because some of my friends have like stayed over. I had one buddy sleep on my couch for about 2 weeks because his Xbox died. He had nothing else to do. He slept on my couch. He finished Halo while I was asleep. That's it. That's all he did. And like, but it's Halo to me is one of the greatest community games simply because of my association with it. It's such a fun game, and it's simple. You don't have to be good to have fun with it. In fact, the worse you are, the more fun you have. I feel, and I love it. I love it, and it's cool to see that it's coming to Xbox because now I can play it on my Xbox or my computer.
Well, it is out on Xbox.
Yeah, it's cool to see it's coming to PC.
Yeah,
because now I can play it on my computer.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that of course I still will use an Xbox controller on my PC.
I didn't even know that was possible until like a week ago. Like someone told me, they're like, you can hook your controller up to your computer, right? And I was like, the hell you can. And they were like, yeah, it's super easy. And I was like,
it's blurry, but it's a
name?
customized controller, as you see.
Oh.
I got this by redeeming my Microsoft rewards that I didn't even know I had.
That's nice. I need to see if I have any rewards.
I have a wired Xbox controller that I plug into.
Oh, by the way, the way that I can do it, Xbox.
Oh, the Wi-Fi controller.
I have and you see the button right there.
Yeah.
That
you push that button and hook it up just like you do when you connect your Xbox controller.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, see, I was told you could do it through Bluetooth.
Yeah, no, that's what that stick does. It allows you. It allows you to connect your Xbox controller through its Bluetooth to your PC.
I do everything on my laptop. I don't have like a really good functional hard drive yet. I'm working on it. Boom.
How many more of those do you have now?
I've just got the 2, but I'm waiting to July because I hear that's when prices will drop for the new AMD, that's when the new AMD CPUs come out, and buy the last generation and awesomeness. But I love Halo and I'm excited. This will be cool.
Now, here's the downside to this.
They don't have swords.
Unlike the original Halo, and unlike Halo 2, they are not remastering Halo 3. It's simply just a port. But it is now PC capable, which means you could do so much more with a keyboard and mouse in doing level design than you can going, okay, no, shoot, and now I got to go to the other side.
Yeah. That's actually a really cool concept. That's neat. I never played any unique levels. I tried the Forge once, and I got so confused and frustrated that I was like, F it! And I went and I think watched a movie or something.
I built a game, Halo 3 Customs. How you doing? Mm-hmm. I built the Pac-Man map.
That would be cool.
Halo in Foundry.
So you're in a labyrinth, essentially.
It was a labyrinth, and there were 4 people on one team and one person on another.
That would be tight.
And you did no damage unless you picked up an overshield, and the only person that could pick up an overshield was player 1.
Cool.
So essentially, you were playing real life Pac-Man. And there were teleporters on the sides, so you could get to the other side of the map.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I love to do things like that. I don't know what's so wrong up here that I do, but I love to do things like that.
It's just how you're wired, Paul.
I guess so.
It's how you're wired.
Any questions, Neil?
No. I've played Halo 3 before, so I know what you're talking about, roughly. Yeah. Loosely.
Dad, you?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I'm excited to talk about. Can I play with myself for a second?
You can play with yourself right down there on the bottom. Yes. Bring your hand up. You're saying you're gonna play with yourself, and then doing this, it looks a little bit wrong. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I win. Sorry. Okay. So,
for me, what you're about to talk about, the entire day, ever since you mentioned it, I've been going, da 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 da.
Okay, so Hamilton. It hit Broadway years and years ago. I remember I was working for a local company, and I had hired this young lady who was musical theater, loved musical theater, and you guys know, if you've ever watched one of my streams, I sing, right? That's not like I'm doing that because I'm live. I sing all the effing time, like all the time. I'm always singing. When I put my daughters to sleep, I'm singing to them. When I'm in the car, I'm singing to myself. My neighbor told another neighbor that I sing while mowing the lawn and that I should be prepared for that. So it's what I do. I sing. And this young lady introduced, she's like, you're singing all the time. Have you heard of Hamilton? And I was like, no, what's Hamilton? She's like, it's a rap musical about Alexander Hamilton. And I was like, okay, that sounds stupid, but I'll give it a shot. And it took me a bit. And the first song, and when I find a song that I like, no joke, I will listen to it on repeat for hours. One song. There's this YouTube singer who sings Bad Liar. It's just this girl, and Jada Facer or something like that. She's just got a really lovely voice. I will listen to her for hours. One song. Usually when I'm playing like Age of Empires or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I can empathize with that. I do. I get it. I listen to Violet Orlandi singing "Toss a Coin to Your Witcher" over and over and over and over again. It's hypnotic.
So good, right? And so I'm sitting there, and this song that hooked me and just pulled me in. Alexander Hamilton it's about the life and times of Alexander Hamilton from like roughly birth, like young age, until he is killed in a duel, and it's
Spoiler
really,
alert!
it's been a couple hundred years. I feel like if you didn't know that, and it's phenomenal. You can listen to the whole thing on Spotify. I wish that we had like a thing that we could get paid to, say that, but like it's awesome. But the song that got me is George Washington. It's like the fifth or sixth, maybe seventh song. I don't know.
Is it the first one he sings?
It's the first one he sings. It's the first introduction of George Washington, and it's him talking about like, look, I'm leading this revolution, and I've got people running away. I need help, and it's just this powerful song, and it's so good. And for years, and I still hold to this. I still believe that eventually they will make a live action Hamilton movie. It'll still be a musical. I mean, they've done it like with Rent. They did it with the producers, Cats, even, and Cats sucks. I assume everyone's hated it. I don't know. But this is the point. Is like this came to us because of Corona. So silver lining this. Okay. Okay. And I know that for those of you who suffered, it's not a very big silver lining, and I get it. But if you like musicals, oh my gosh, I listened to these songs, and I'm just like, I need to go out and I need to create. I need to go out. I need to build. I need to go out. I need to write or do something. And so one of the things that is unique about, that I love about this is it shows that Alexander Hamilton is always going for what he wants. He's always going for, and it also shows the downfall of that. It doesn't show necessarily that he's this perfect person, because he's clearly not, but he's always going after for what he wants. And it's so effing powerful. Now, it was funny because like I was down at my in-laws over the 4th of July weekend, and I assumed that this would be R-rated. I did. Hamilton from the actual musical has 2 F words, so technically it still gets a PG-13. On DisneyPlus, they bleep them out, which kind of an interesting choice. But again, it's DisneyPlus, so not shocking by any means. Oh man, like down over. So hold on, Neil. I don't know if you know this, but here in the States, well, you've lived here long enough. Here in the States, we celebrate the 4th of July. It is the time that we, as colonizers, decided, you know what, we're done with the Queen.
Yeah, you traitors.
I know, yeah, and we
treasonous scum.
We broke our promise.
If only you paid your 5% tax on tea instead of dumping it into
this is
the
why
water,
we drink coffee
dumping
now.
it into the harbor.
Neil, learn the words to "You'll Be Back" for me. I want
you'll be back. Soon you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me. I loved it. Okay, so like it's such a good show. Like so I watched it, and one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised, because it is the stage performance of
3 different stage performances.
Oh, is it? Is it 3 different
stage performances? 2 filmed in front of 2 different audiences, and then 1 filmed in front of no one, so the cameras could get up close.
That's okay. So that makes sense. So it's a really cool concept, and there are like you said, there are close-ups. There's different shots.
There's some continuity errors too. Did you know that?
I didn't. Like
during Angelica's song. Helpless, Eliza doing Helpless, and then when Angelica's singing in Helpless, the flowers are gone from the from her dress in some of the shots when it's not in the others.
Oh, I did. So I will admit I was playing Age of Empires while watching this. Literally, I was playing and singing along. My wife had never seen the show; she'd never heard it except for me singing it. But because Alexander Hamilton is an orphan, they refer to him as a bastard a lot, and so I can't listen to it with my children's around, even though that is the appropriate term for a fatherless person. It is a wonderful show. Like I'm sitting here, like I'm just singing along with it the whole freaking time. It was awesome. At the end of the show, so hold on. I can't even say this, but like at the end, like Alexander Hamilton's performance, probably the weakest. I say Alexander, Lin-Manuel
Miranda,
probably the weakest performance of the entire cast. Like his wife,
Eliza.
I forget her name. What is it?
Eliza.
I was like, it's not Paisley. What do you, Eliza? Like Paisley? What? There's no Paisley in this.
And Peggy.
Yeah, Eliza and Peggy. So Eliza's performance, oh my gosh, like just totally pulls at your heart. Like throughout, like you see her fall in love, you see her like teaching her children, you see her reaction to her. So if you haven't seen it and don't know, I'm going to spoil the hell out of it right now.
Hold on.
We're spoiler duck. Like her reaction to her son's death at the duel, her reaction to the affair. Oh my gosh. Just like everything is just like such an amazing actress. Like I love Lin-Manuel. I think I love his performance in this. Seeing it kind of bugged me, like seeing him actually do his thing. I didn't think he was as good, but you can put spoiler duck down.
Okay.
Her performance. Oh my gosh. The guy who played George Washington. Oh, like just amazing.
The guy who played the Frenchman.
Oh,
and Jefferson.
And Jefferson. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like strongest rapper of the cast. Just an amazing cast.
Now, here's another thing that I kind of geeked out on it too, Thad, is George Washington was a calculating type of person, right? Mm-hmm. So if you notice, anytime that George is rapping, he is rapping on the beat in a metronome kind of way.
He is. That's right. So I'm not musically inclined at all. I'm part of my church choir only because I'm a willing/unwilling participant. I don't like saying no. And I was asked once and they were like, well, crap, I'll do it. But I don't, you guys have heard me sing. I don't carry a tune. I harmonize. And so reading music, crazy. Come to find out, like King George and if you don't know, and just a really quick history lesson, America, the United States, was once part of the British colonies. And
really?
Yeah, I know, crazy, right? And as part of that, King George was the one who, I believe, the one that gave the charter. I'm not 100% on that, but he was the king at the time of the Revolution. The third.
The third, sorry. Yes.
I've got to be specific.
George the First and George the Second weren't mad. George the Third was a complete and utter lunatic.
Yeah, and that's why he put taxes on tea. I don't know why I did that. Anyways,
oh no, he didn't.
Oh no, he did.
You missed 2 steps. It's start.
Yeah, so King George, I didn't know this, is played by Jonathan Groff, who is Kristoff from freaking Frozen. Had no idea. And what's funny about this, like I recognize the actor. I didn't recognize the voice because I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But he's also the same guy from the TV show Mindhunter, which weird connections there, like Frozen, Mindhunter, guy who saves Princess of Arendelle, guy who interviews Jeffrey Dahmer, very different roles, but he plays an amazing King George. Super sassy, super I don't know, just fun to watch. And finally, probably one of my favorite actors is the guy who plays Aaron Burr. Now, one of the things that I love about this story is it shows Burr. It shows kind of his rise in connection with Alexander Hamilton. It shows different things, just kind of like him wanting to be more in the spotlight, and his eventual downfall. And I honestly think while the show is Hamilton, it could just as easily be called Burr, and show a different, very similar side, right? Burr is not necessarily the villain of the story, but a co-protagonist, so to an extent. Just a great story, and I absolutely loved it. Now, I will say that while this is a great show, wonderful, it is not entirely historically accurate. There are things that they skip over. I mean, and for the sake of...
You're telling me that they didn't sing and rap back then?
No, there was not.
Is the subliminal message that women want to give BJs to their partners in this musical?
I didn't pick up on that, and
No, you
neither
didn't?
did
Okay.
my wife. So,
South Park reference.
oh, gotcha. I was like, I didn't get that one.
I didn't get that one either.
Yeah,
But obviously it didn't work for
South
either
Park.
of us.
South
then.
Park did a musical called The Book of Mormon, right?
oh yes,
And to promote the Book of Mormon, in one of their episodes, they made out that everybody that makes musicals is cool, and that the reason why husbands take their girlfriends and their wives to musicals is on the promise that they're going to get a BJ. Obviously, that's not real. That's just Matt Stone
Yeah.
and Trey Parker thing. How can we get people to take? How can we get husbands and boyfriends to take their girlfriends to musical? I know. We'll BS them in an episode of South Park, and it'll be like, if you take your girlfriend, you will get a BJ. If you take your wife, you will get a BJ. So it's a South Park reference.
yeah. Love South Park. Think it's wonderful. I will point out. I think this is really funny. On a side note, the Book of Mormon musical, obviously making fun of the Book of Mormon, or satirizing the Book of Mormon, a religious text,
missionary work.
satirizing missionary work from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
I'm a member. I will say one
So
of the
am
things,
I.
Paul is too. One of the things that I think is really cool, if you go I've seen a playbill that in the actual playbill of the Book of Mormon musical, you will find an ad for the church. I just think that's fun. Someone's like, hey, we can take a joke.
Yeah, it's seen the musical. Know the truth. I think that's what it says.
Yeah, something like that. I just think it's cool. Not trying to proselytize or anything, but
Have you heard the good news, Thaddeus?
Yes, about our Lord and Savior 3PO.
Well, you two boys can just I'm not gonna go there, Nev. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah. So, anyways, moving on. I loved this story. But I will say, and I haven't dived too deeply into this or delved too deeply into this. I've heard, and I really want to look into it, that this is getting flack because, one, Alexander Hamilton, it's not quite sure whether or not he was a slave owner. The golden rod. All right. We're not entirely sure that he was a slave owner. The family that he married into did own slaves, and there's some iffiness there. But even Lin-Manuel Miranda has said maybe this wasn't or isn't the right time for this musical, this show.
No.
And
It's the perfect time for this musical.
and I absolutely
It's not getting grief. It's not getting crap. A tiny percentage of people that have power are saying that it shouldn't be done.
And I agree. I agree with you, Nev. I think this is one of those things because throughout this story, it's about an outsider, and they do point that out. I will say, my wife at the end of it, I asked her, I was like, "What did you think of it?" She's like, "He wasn't an immigrant," and I was like, "What do you mean he wasn't an immigrant?" She's like, "Well, at that point, there wasn't a U.S. So when he migrated to the United States, it was still a colony.
He just moved house.
Yeah. And so when they became a United States government, he was already a citizen because he fought in the war. I'm like, that's a very valid point. But him being an immigrant is one of those things that they really, but whether or not he's an immigrant, he is an outsider. And one of the things that it does highlight is outsiders can make a difference. People who are in the fringe can rise up and do great things. And I thought it was awesome because I'm a fairly patriotic person. Nev, I didn't serve in the military. And I admire those who do. I'm not a police officer. I know cops who sacrifice a lot. And I will say I know great cops, good people who are just trying to do good things. But one of the things that I loved about this is it showed that this is a goal that we're all working towards, no matter what your your political beliefs are. And I think at this point, a lot of people can actually say, oh, they're, political and religion at this point in our culture, those two things seem very hand in hand. This show makes me feel like we are all together, and we can be all together if we just go for what's right. I just loved it. I did. And I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch it with I'm going to go visit my family this week. I know I'm going to watch it again with my family. I will most likely watch it with my daughter because she's heard me singing the freaking songs for the last 2 years. Like I was, she asked it. She's like, Dad, can I watch that with you? And I was like, you're 9. No, I don't know. I'm like, ask your mom. But like, there's some parts we might have to skip over.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to give your kids a culture shock.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just my eldest, when she was 12, she kept on telling me, no, she wasn't 12. She would have been about 13. Actually, she was probably about 13. She'd been watching some horror movies. And I was like, really? You shouldn't really be watching. She's like, horror movies don't scare me. I went, okay, we'll sit down and we'll watch Jeepers Creepers together. Oh. She got 15 minutes into the movie and she's like, yeah, I can't watch this. Is too scary. I went, hey, you're not going to watch horror movies anymore, are you? She's like, no, I'm not. Culture shock.
Yeah, and I agree. But like, I will say that this was such a fun show. And I do look forward to the day when they will make a live musical of this show, because I think it could make everything seem more real. And it was cool. It was cool sitting down and watching the play, in my home, but just not the same as seeing it in the theater. I would have loved to have seen this in the theater, and I look forward to the day when I can. But I loved it. If you have DisneyPlus, go and check it out. If you don't, and I don't get paid for this, I don't think you guys do either, do a free trial, of
Audible.
Well, you can do a free trial of Audible. I do get a little bit of a kickback from that. Also, free trial of Audible. Just throwing this out there. Dr. Aphra, 2 weeks away.
Yes.
So
are we talking about it?
We will when it comes out.
Let's do Dick of the Week and then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So, but that's the thing is, I just wrap this up. Great show. Give it a try. Wonderful.
Okie dokie. Excellent.
So, okay.
Done.
So, real quick, one little call for anybody who's thinking, who is seeing the success of Hamilton on a streaming service. In fact, I'll go ahead and start off Dick of the Week, if I may.
Yeah,
I know
do.
you won last week. May I? Do you
did win
mind,
last
Neil?
week.
No, you can go ahead. Thad's supposed to go first, but if he wants to defer it to you, he's okay.
I defer to
Okay,
you.
defer to Paul.
Okay, so you brought up your topic, and
Yes.
it brings home to me the perfect Dick of the Week.
Okay.
My Dick of the Week nominee is Broadway producers.
Okay.
Only they want all of that they won't let anything be filmed so other people can become cultured and watch these musicals that are created. I would love to see, instead of just listening to it on Spotify or whatnot, I would love to see Book of Mormon. I would love to see Fiddler on the Roof. I've seen Rent. I would love to see it again, which in some ways it did come out, but in other ways, the stage production is so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the songs that they omitted in the movie.
Yeah.
Being able to see a Broadway show without paying $1,000 a ticket, to me, would culture this world much better than going to a museum. Allow after, how long has Hamilton been out, Thad?
Like 5 days. Not even.
No. I'm talking about the musical when Hamilton was first.
Like 5 years, 6 years.
5 years. After 5 years, once it's touring,
yeah,
allow the Broadway cast to come back for one or three shows, kind of like we talked about, and they're worse than movies. They're absolutely worse than movies. Eventually, we get a DVD release.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
Broadway producers.
Broadway, stingy Broadway. That is my Dick of the Week.
Bad.
All right.
You were supposed to go first, so you can go second now. What's your Dick of the Week nomination?
All right. So, people who call heroic things stupid. So, misunderstood heroes. Okay.
Explain.
In Michigan, there was a man pumping gas when, out of nowhere, he sees a spider. So what does this man do? He turns the gasoline hose on the spider, then lights the gas on fire in an attempt to destroy the spider. That is the most heroic thing that I've seen in a long time. I mean, we all joke about burning it down. This man was deathly afraid of spiders. And what does he do? He braves it and he lights it on fire. And people call him stupid for it.
Okay, that's an interesting nomination for Dick of the Week. Mine's much, much, much simpler.
Please, let's hear
it. Mine is weather apps that don't give you the correct weather.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, so opened up Weatherbug earlier on after dinner. What does it say? 0% chance of rain, clear skies. So I'm thinking to myself, best get out, water the garden, water the vegetable patch. So I go out, turn the hose on, I give everything a good spraying down. Everything gets hosed down with the watering can that the hose doesn't reach. I come back in an hour later. What happens? It rains. So we just spent all that money wasting water to water a garden that just got naturally rained on, despite the app telling me there was a 0% chance of, not 10, not 20, 0, a 0% chance of rain. So the app cost me, I don't know how, I must have spent 20, 30 gallons of water watering the vegetable patch in the garden because I didn't think it was going to rain. So I just wasted 20, gallons of water because weather app can't even get it even remotely close. This is not like 30%.
You said
oh,
what? You
cheers,
used
you got
WeatherBug?
30%. It was 0%.
You used WeatherBug.
I use WeatherBug.
So you are no longer using WeatherBug.
So I will no longer be using WeatherBug. Not if it's going to have me wasting 20 gallons of water. Screw that.
That is a down vote for WeatherBug.
Okay, there we go. There's our 3 nominations.
All right.
Let's get the vote on.
10 minutes. 10 minutes. The poll is created. By the way, I spelled weather incorrect because the weather was incorrect. I know that I spelled weather incorrect.
Yes.
So make sure you go on, vote for your favorite.
I've already got one for next
If you
week.
got a quarter in bits, you can vote again.
I already have one for next week, and it is awesome. It is hands down going to win.
Hands down going to win. You've said that before.
Hold on. Let me vote for my stupid heroes, or else it won't get a vote.
By the way, Cascade called your dick of the week a flaming idiot.
That's true. That's true. And that's the sad thing, because his heroism goes unsung, but I will sing it.
But his hair certainly probably went.
His hair probably, and eyebrows. If he had any facial hair, it's probably gone.
See, as soon as you started talking, that instantly makes me think of the car wash scene from Zoolander. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just in an innocent gasoline fight.
Oh my god, it's just so bonkers.
Oh my gosh. I will. So here's the thing, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make Nev mad at me again. This is I haven't seen the Karate Kid level admission.
Oh god, no, not another one of these.
I do
what
not
else
like
have you not
Zoolander.
Seen? Huh?
I do not like Zoolander.
Do not like or have not seen?
I've seen it 2 or 3 times. I do not like it. And I know that I'm an outcast. Zoolander has a cult following, my wife being one of them. And I'm not a fan. I've never liked it. It was a little past my time, and it's the stupid humor that I would have loved to see in the theater that I didn't see. Like I didn't watch it in the theater, and so since I missed it in the theater, it never stuck with me. So yeah.
There's so many.
Got nothing to say to that. That's just bad form, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgive you for not liking Zoolander 2.
Do I not like Zoolander?
No. I would forgive you for not liking Zoolander 2 because Zoolander 2 was just crap.
It was, but on the plus side, Justin Bieber dies in it.
Yeah.
And that kind of redeems itself a little bit. But I mean, we've all wanted to see the Biebs die.
Blue Steel.
Not in like a dangerous way. I mean, no one should go out and harm Justin Bieber. And let's face it, guys, his song "Baby" with Ludacris, it's amazing. But he was like 12 when he sang that, so it doesn't officially count.
It wasn't Ludacris, it was Usher.
No, it was Ludacris, man. Usher found him. Oh, no, dude. Usher found him. The song "Baby" that he sings is with Ludacris.
All right, okay.
Because I'm a huge fan of Ludacris.
Do not mess with Thad on his hip hop.
Do not mess with Thad on his Justin Bieber trilogy. His knowledge.
I don't do hip hop or R&B. Never have done hip hop and R&B. One of the only musical genres I've never been able to get into.
Okay, so on a side note, with that being said,
although I didn't mind NWA and Snoop Dogg.
Well, of course, everyone should like the NWA.
Everybody should like NWA.
Bone Thugs and Harmony, Crossroads, excellent.
Oh, seriously.
By the way, I'm gonna segue real quick. Dr. Feelgood just let us know that RSG just wrapped up. Anybody coming over from RSG, you have time to vote in that poll. Stingy Broadway producers, basically Broadway saying that saying that they won't record like they did Hamilton, other things, so people can actually appreciate musical art. Thad is a guy that decided to kill a spider in a gas station with gas and a lighter, and Neil's is weather apps that are wrong.
Yes.
That being said, happy birthday to Reality Skewed Gamers. We're honored that we were able to be part of the beginning with you guys, of the beginning of your show today. And we are honored to be your friends and your confidants. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend.
Carrie came on at the end, did she? I figured somebody would get Carrie on at the end.
Yeah,
I was waiting. I was waiting for Carrie to come on.
Kind of like I did for you at the end of our 1 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured Carrie would come on at some point. I mean, they had Red Crumb on at the beginning of the show, didn't they?
They did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you gonna say, Thad? We were talking about hip hop.
Yeah. We were talking about. I was talking. He was talking about him being a fan, and I was talking about acceptable levels of hip hop from a general purpose point of view, like Ice Cube, Ice-T.
Yeah,
and Public Enemy was good as well.
Vanilla Ice.
Obviously.
Just that one song though.
So here's what the Ninja Turtle song.
The Ninja Turtle song.
No. I was going to say. No, I'm talking
that
about.
Should be the only Vanilla Ice song that you're referring to.
Ice Baby was the only good Vanilla Ice song.
No. No, go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
No.
Go Ninja, go.
No.
That song.
Oh, there was Snow. Snow's Informer. That was good as well.
Wonderful song.
Snow's Informer was good. Yeah,
that was not Vanilla Ice. That was Snow.
That was Snow. Informer was by Snow.
It's a form of ice, but not vanilla.
Not Vanilla Ice. Yeah. So okay, let me introduce you.
What do you got coming up on your channel this week, Thad?
So this week I'm actually going to be out of town, and so I don't have anything coming up. Unfortunately, I might make an appearance next week. Actually, no, next week. Obviously, we will be doing the Escape podcast, Geeking Out with Going Nerdy, a special episode.
I have, yes, and we certainly will. And
it's the first I'm hearing of this.
I'm gonna look.
You weren't invited.
I'm gonna look like this. I mean, I already know you're gonna be there, Neil.
Yeah,
but next week, the person that is all the way down there is going to be right here.
See, you've spoiled it now. We were going to do this big, green screen thing where Thaddeus was going to say something, and then you were going to go into his room and strangle him, and you've ruined it now. We can't do that now because you've told people he's going to be there. We're just going to have two windows.
We can't. We're just going to have two windows, but there's nothing wrong with me letting people know about that because technically I'm not going to want to touch Thaddeus because I don't want to give him the COVID.
No, he's going to want to touch me. That's
only if you bring Rios' Spanish eyes.
Are you kidding? Look at these.
Okay.
Yeah, you've gone cross-eyed.
I don't know, Neil. We might have to up the rating of the show.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So, hold on.
Add LGBTQIA to the Twitch stream thing.
So I gotta say this before we go. Bluegrass music with gangsta rap.
Are you talking about Super Gourd?
No, there's more than one band. I was just letting my YouTube music play, and I found a bluegrass music called Gangsta Grass.
And Super Gourd's version of Gin and Juice is hilarious.
I will have to listen to it. These guys take themselves seriously, though. And so I don't know if I'll have to listen to it. Gangsta Grass.
Exactly.
Which sounds like weed. I just got to say. I mean, it sounds like weed. So
Neil, what do you got coming up?
Well, we've got the show on Friday. So
We have the show on Friday.
We've got the show on Friday.
What are we covering?
A game that shall not be discussed in this show.
I tried that.
It was worth it.
But by the way,
a game that will not be discussed in this one. But and then obviously at the end of what was it? The beginning of next week, we've got the show about the game that we will not be discussing in this one that I do with Flair, and then it'll be back round to Geeking Out.
Oh, okay.
What the hell? Who the hell just did that? Who the hell just did that?
Stingy Broadway and weather apps have tied.
Yeah.
What?
Thaddeus, because we have a two-way tie.
I win.
You are the tie-breaking vote.
Ooh.
You have to choose. And remember, you are going to be sitting next to me next week. No, I'm kidding. You don't worry about that. If you pick other apps, it's okay.
Okay, I gotta say, you both have some very viable topics here. I do appreciate the weather app thing, but I also want to point out that no one is ever right on the weather. And so
no. There's getting it wrong. There's getting it wrong, right? Making a mistake, right, and then getting it so wrong that people do things based on a complete and utter screw up on the app, right? There is a difference between there being, say 10, 30, 40% chance of rain. That's people looking at it going, you know what? Maybe I won't risk it. Maybe I will. But when it says a 0% chance of rain for an entire 24-hour period and then it rains,
but was it a total downpour?
Yes.
Or was it?
No, we are talking. Okay. It was a complete and utter downpour. It was raining that heavily that I could hear it through the earphones while we were on the RSG stream.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just going to point out he has a very, very valid point.
You do.
But also, I also have the cultural upbringing of the world. But nonetheless, Neil has a very, very valid point, and I would not be upset if you choose that.
True. First off, Neil, I love that hat. That is like the coolest thing I've seen you wear ever. Secondly, I do have to go with Paul's because essentially he took my topic tonight and made it his dick of the week. So
favoritism.
It's almost like he's calling me the dick of the week. Almost. By association.
No, I'm not calling you the dick of the week. I'm calling people that wouldn't let happen what you talked about.
And I will say that I agree with Paul's way more than I agree with Nev's, only because I suck at gardening.
Oh God. Still says happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I suck at gardening. I've got a bush of cilantro that's grown like wildfire. But
we have 11. Okay. Flash poll. Tiebreaker. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to do it, Neil. We're having a flash poll. 1 minute.
Okay. I can do so. I can do something in 1 minute. It's cold outside. There's no kind of atmosphere. I'm all alone.
Hold on. I haven't started the poll yet. Hang on.
Let
me grab my poll, would you?
Okay.
Yes. Let him put his poll in.
Cascade. Zaz, you got to sing with me.
All right. So once again, you can spend a quarter in bits. Oh, end poll. Hang on. New poll. Tiebreaker. And duration 1 minute. There we go. I messed up. All right. Paul's producers. Neil's apps. All right. 1 minute. Flash poll. Go. Tiebreaker.
There we go. Okay, so Cascade, sing it with me. It's cold outside. There's no kind of atmosphere. All alone, more or less. Let me fly far away from here. Fun, fun, fun in the sun.
Neil, it
sun,
doesn't look
sun.
good for you.
I want to lie shipwrecked and comatose, drinking fresh mango juice. Goldfish shoals nibbling at my toes. Fun, fun, fun in
Although
the
it does
sun,
look,
sun,
Neil is
sun.
stepping it up.
Fun, fun, fun in the sun, sun, sun. Dun, 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 dun.
Pon,
Dun,
you
dun,
walked
dun, dun,
into
dun,
us
dun.
tie breaking. What is the dick of the week? Is it producers who will not let their shows be filmed for mass consumption, or weather apps?
Weather apps that are wrong. Weather
That are
apps
wrong.
that say it's a 0% chance of rain, so you go and waste 20 gallons of water watering your vegetable patch and gardens and flowers and fruit, and then it rains. So
All right.
the weather app
So-
lied to you. You know, lying. It shouldn't be wrong weather apps. It should be lying weather apps.
All right. So there we go. 4-1 on a 1-minute flash tiebreaker. It is still me.
And the reason why I just sang that song was because earlier on I was talking about Red Dwarf, which is
That is true.
the greatest British sci-fi comedy ever made.
So once again, I prove that have the biggest dicks of the week.
Yes. Paul
It's
brings
just
the biggest
ridiculous.
dicks of the week to the table.
That's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Absolutely ridiculous.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us for this episode of Geeking Out with Going Nerdy. We appreciate. Would you get that? Would you get that? Put the ads back on the screen instead of Dick of the Week. We're done with Dick of the Week.
Okay.
All
Put
right.
it away. Put it away.
Put the Dick of the Week away. That does it for us this week. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Once again, happy birthday to Reality Skewed Gamers. You guys are an amazing and inspiring group of people. Thank you very, very much for everything that you've done to this done to and for this community. I think I could say two, and it works as well. Now, that being said, and look, they're in the chat. I didn't even know you guys were in the chat. Good to see you. But nonetheless, guys, we appreciate each and every single one of you, listeners, voters, people that watch this later on Thaddeus's channel. We appreciate you. We are on the push to 1,000 on YouTube. The Escape Podcast needs your support on YouTube. We want to hit 1,000 before the end of the summer. Please help us make that happen. Please.
Pretty please.
All right.
Pretty pleased with the cherry on top.
That being said, be nice to each other, damn it. And remember to smile.
And stay nerdy.
Neil, push the button.
You got it, mate. Ta-ta for now, folks.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Boo Boo, sit. Good dog.